Nosferatu, a Symphony of Horror, is a 1922 German expressionist horror film. It was loosely based on Bram Stoker's novel Dracula, but altered the names and certain details in an attempt to avoid copyright infringement. The film was directed by F.W. Murneau, who would also go on to win the first Academy Award for Sunrise. The film stars Max Schreck. Howdy folks, and welcome to this first edition of Garage Vampire-thon, where every day for the month of October, I watch a vampire movie. Now before I get started, make sure you check out the previous marathons. Last year I did a Stephen King-a-thon, and the year before that it was a zombie-thon. And this year, the theme is vampires. We'll be checking out a vampire movie a day, so subscribe to the channel if you're interested in that. But let's get into the review. Guys, ever since I was a kid, I was fascinated with Nosferatu. Not because I knew who he was, because one day, an innocent little Paul was watching SpongeBob, and the episode was The Graveyard Shift. At the end, Nosferatu makes an appearance. Nosferatu! And it scared the shit out of me. The episode wasn't scary up until Nosferatu showed up out of nowhere and did his creepy little fucking smile. But ever since then, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And as I matured with age, I found out about the movie Nosferatu. This isn't my first time watching the movie Nosferatu. This is actually my second time. I'm not a big silent movie guy. It's kind of a difficult watch for me to watch silent movies because the music plays an important part in silent movies. And I remember the first time I watched Nosferatu, I can't remember what it was or what version it was. I hated the music. It was too crazy. And especially with these silent movies, because there's no dialogue, the music is so crucial. It reminds me of a story. I'm going to go on a tangent here. But I went to a film festival. It wasn't like a big film festival. It was like one in Montreal. There was a screening of the movie The Golem, which is a silent film. And they said live music performance. And I didn't expect anything big, but I thought maybe like a cello and a violin and maybe a percussionist. No, it was a DJ. And there was this ballroom scene where people are like dancing and it's all elegant and sophisticated. And this DJ starts playing Michael Jackson, which first of all might have been a copyright infringement. I don't know if he cleared the rights with the Michael Jackson estate, but it was just off-putting. It was just like this old dance sequence, and in the background there was like, "If you want me side of something, come on." Music is important in a silent film, and the version I watched was what Reddit recommended, the Kino video version, and I thought the music in here was a lot better than the first time I watched Nosferatu. I just got some copy off of Pirate Bay or something. When you pop this movie in, warning, it looks like shit. This movie was not well preserved. It's hard to preserve film back in the early days, in the 1920s, and prior to that. Film was seen as kind of this like attraction, this kind of carnival thing. So it wasn't really taken seriously, and for that reason it wasn't well preserved. And it's really hard and expensive to preserve film. You have to put them in salt mines and make sure that it remains intact. So yeah, film was a relatively new medium. There just wasn't an effort to preserve it. Not only did it have that going against it, but this film was destroyed. People tried to destroy this movie. The reason being is that this movie, like I said in the introduction, was loosely based off Bram Stoker's Dracula. And like I said, film wasn't really taken that seriously. When this movie was made, it was seen as like just a movie that would play for a few German people. But no, the Bram Stoker estate went after the creators of this film and sued them up the ass, and they had to destroy every copy of the film they could get their hands on. But a few survived, which is why this movie doesn't look too hot in terms of video quality. This is a German expressionist film. I'm not a snob. I don't know what it means, but I had to look it up, and this is what German expressionism means. It means that, and this is according to Wikipedia, more of an emphasis on artists' inner feelings over reality. I don't know what the fuck that means, but there you go. I'm not the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree sometimes, but yeah, I think I know what that means. I'm just selling myself short. I feel like that kind of dreamlike quality of this film makes it a lot more off-putting because I also just watched 1931's Dracula, which I enjoyed. Spoiler alert for the next video, but I'll get more into that one later. So yeah, I compared this one to the 1931 Dracula, and this one kind of has like this dreamlike quality. It feels like you're kind of high when you watch it. Everything kind of looks exaggerated. You can see it especially in the design of the characters. Nosferatu is like got this pointy ears and these pointy sharp front teeth and these long nails, and he looks very rodent-like, which there's a lot of rodent imagery in this film. But not only that, it's just the townsfolk also look like over the top. They got huge mustaches. The wife especially, I think, may be the scariest character in this film. She really looks off. Like, she's not hot. I don't get why this Hutter guy has got a huge boner for this woman. Not the prettiest woman out there. Who am I to judge? I don't know what the beauty standards were in Germany in 1922. The set design is very beautiful as well. There's like a beautiful contrast between Nosferatu's ugly, desolate castle compared to this nice, small, innocent town, which will later get invaded by Nosferatu. And one scene in particular that I really like is that ending scene where Nosferatu dies in the sunlight. You can see the buildings in the background, and they're little cardboard buildings. They're like these simple little houses. They kind of look like a second grader drew them, but in a good way. It's like a nice little simplicity. And I think that's what's meant by expressionist, is more of that feeling rather than the reality, because no house actually looked like that. Even the scenes that don't really age well, where it was due to technical limitations, kind of add to my enjoyment of this movie. The use of color in here is so simple, but so good. Whenever it's night, they just put a blue filter over the image, which is pretty neat. The scenes where they do like stop motion and fast motion, those are pretty interesting as well. I didn't know Nosferatu had super speed. Nosferatu has to be the second most threatening person on this planet with super speed, right behind Ezra Miller. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I wrote that down and I delivered it perfectly. I was looking into the history of Nosferatu, and because he's such an iconic movie monster, apparently there's some people who think that he was an intentional Jewish stereotype. Because of his long fingernails and his big hook nose, people thought he was a Jewish stereotype. At the time of this movie's release, there were conflicts between the German people and the Jews. That has since been debunked. Apparently, the director was a homosexual and had many Jewish friends, so he was by no means a kind of Nazi. This is the question that's on everyone's mind. It's on everyone's mind. Does this movie hold up, yes or no? And I'd say medium. I would never pop this movie in again. I watched it once before and I thought I had enough of it. I watched it again for this movie marathon, but I don't think I'll ever watch it again. It's not the kind of movie I'm like, hey, folks, want to watch Nosferatu? There's just a lot of things that are outdated, which is understandable for a movie that's from 100 years ago. The title cards to a modern audience kind of slows the pace down. The characters are very simplistic. The story is very simplistic. Everything that pertains to the vampire genre is kind of cliched at this point. That scene where Hutter cuts his finger and Nosferatu sucks it. I went to see a movie in the theater, and there was a trailer that played before for a vampire movie, and they had that exact same scene in it. So yeah, that's how overdone it is. We're doing it even 100 years later.
Ow! Let me see.
I still respect it for being ahead of its time. I'm not ignorant. I get it. I'm just talking from a modern standpoint. It's not like I'm gonna watch this movie. That said, it really does have some scary moments. There's a scene where Hutter is about to go to sleep, and he opens the door and just sees Nosferatu laying down with his eyes open, staring at him. That's a pretty fucked up scene. And like I said, my introduction to Nosferatu was SpongeBob SquarePants, and just in that episode, he kind of terrified me. And it feels good to see vampires be threatening, you know? People saw this vampire, they were shitting bricks. This made boomers shit their pants. I miss threatening vampires. Vampire comedies are fun, vampire rom-coms are okay, vampire action movies, I guess, are okay. But I like threatening vampires. Like, they're not supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be terrifying. And that movie delivers on that. It's something that you don't really get nowadays. Guys, what are your thoughts on Nosferatu? Comment below, let me know. And I'll see you guys around. See you tomorrow.